So, welcome. I'm Rob Cosman, and we are here at Heartland Forest. This is a facility that was built for so that disabled children could experience nature. There's trails all through the woods. There's a fishing pond. There's a tree house out there with a huge ramp that they can go up. And it just happened to be the place that we rented because the facility itself has several large rooms. And we started renting it to teach 6 5-day hand tool woodworking classes several years ago. So when we started our Purple Heart project, where we bring in combat wounded veterans, oftentimes they're in wheelchairs, this was perfect. So we're sitting in this little cabin that they built. It's called the Pioneer Cabin. It was built last year by Bob, who is the resident woodworker in the facility, which is an ideal setting for what we're doing here, which is interviewing our students. And in leading up to the interview, one of the first times we taught here, we had we had a student that had come all the way over from Melbourne, Australia, and he was a great guy. He was a great guy. In fact, he recently came back and did a workshop with me and Luthie in our shop back in New Brunswick. But he was sorting through or reading through a magazine, and his name is Tony. He was meeting through a woodworking magazine, and he read about this guy, this combat wounded veteran, Australian, who was putting on some kind of a program to help combat wounded veterans through woodworking. It was called Dovetails for Diggers. Now, in case you don't know, Aussie soldiers are nicknamed diggers from World War I, when they would dig a lot of trenches. And from the sounds of it, that's what a lot of soldiers did a lot of. So he got a hold of him and told him about what he knew about the Purple Heart Project. And it's Tony Martin, by the way. Tony knows a lot about this. Was very instrumental in when we kicked off the first one. So he put us in touch, and Luthie kicked in, and he spent a fair bit of time back and forth. This is Ash, by the way. And next thing you know, we're bringing Ash into our program. Jake and I, Jake's my son behind the camera, and retired Colonel Luthie Sheely, we put out the call for people to apply for this. When they do, we sit down and battle back and forth and try to decide, okay, who's in a position where they need this the worst or the most. And Ash qualified, and even more so because of what he was doing. We thought, wow, here's a guy that's, got his heart in the right spot. He's trying to help other guys. So I thought, okay, what else can we do? Well, how many hours flight?
All up, it was like 25 hours.
25 hours to get here. And time difference from here is what?
16 hours.
16 hours.
So when we wake up, my wife is going to bed at home.
So I thought, well, it's not fair to land the guy here on Sunday and expect him to be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed Monday morning. So I thought, why don't we bring him in earlier? He can hang out with us and kind of see our side of it as the ones that run the program. And then he'll have a few days to adjust a little bit, and then he'll be the student for the last part of it. So we brought Ash in on Wednesday. Dave went up to get him. Dave's been our translator for the last week, because every time Ash says something in Aussie talk, Dave pipes up. It's too bad you weren't here, because we've been having some good belly laughs. Ash Wilkie. I'm going to let you tell them how it's been. You've been here longer than most.
Yeah. So, yeah, obviously I already know the benefit of hand tool woodworking, that hand tool woodworking can have, not just for veterans but for everybody. And at the end of last week, at the end of last week, the guys from the last class were just so happy, and they enjoyed it so thoroughly and so much. to see the change in guys as well this week is just wonderful again. Yeah,
You got this. I forgot. I didn't. That didn't. So you got to be a part of 2 classes. So.
Yeah. So it was lovely, and like, you know, and being able to see the methods that you guys use to train in a really world-class facility with immensely skilled, well, you're an immensely skilled woodworker, and then such fantastic tools, wonderful benches, a wonderful workspace. The ability you have to provide all these things for people to come along is just amazing. And we sit down and we eat every meal together. We're all up. We get up at 6:30. We all eat breakfast together at 7, and then we're all together until 10:30 of an evening, and it's the bonds that are formed here over such a short space it's wonderful. I feel I've legitimately got friends here who I'm able to talk to openly and confidently for the rest of my life. So not only are you teaching people a skill that they can take home and broaden themselves, but you're giving people a coping mechanism, and that's priceless.
Yeah.
It's truly priceless what you're doing for guys here.
I'm saying yep to the coping mechanism, because I just hear it from these guys repeatedly that they use this as medicine. This becomes a way for them to go clear their mind.
Mm-hmm.
And the food was good. You said that.
Wonderful. Yeah.
That shawarma stuff is awesome.
Yeah.
We're eating that again
Yeah.
today.
Yeah, and Betty's as well.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Tell the story of Sarah.
Oh.
We haven't told that. Can you do it?
Well,
I'm going to help you if you miss some of the details.
Yeah, so
that got to come across.
Sarah is the server at Betty's, and I think it was the Sunday you guys were here
I got to
just
back up
before
just a little
I got
bit.
here.
I got to give you a little bit of background. So Jake and we handle our stress by playing hockey. So we bring our gear with us, and we stand at the local rink and wait until somebody answers positively to our request for a spot on the ice. So Betty's is an awesome restaurant. If you were ever in Niagara Falls area, it's actually in Chippewa. It's a restaurant, kind of like a home-cooked meal type thing.
Yeah,
Fantastic
but really
food.
well done.
Oh, fantastic food, incredible. So we're out on the ice one night, and there's a girl playing, which doesn't happen a lot. And she said to us, "Well, hey, I know you guys. I saw you at Betty's," and she happened to be the server. And we told her a little bit why we're here, told her about the Purple Heart Project. And what I didn't find out until later was this kid's really got her heart in the right spot, because she actually wants to eventually open a retirement home for people suffering from Alzheimer's
And early onset dementia.
yeah, because of what happened to her grandfather, who happened to be a war vet himself. So that's who Sarah is. So now I'll give it back to you.
So the Sunday before I arrived, their class all went for their dinner at Betty's, and somebody paid for it.
How many of us were there, Jake?
16 last week.
16 or 18? At least 16. There might have been 17
So-
people.
So, needless to say, it was a big bill. It wouldn't have been cheap. She paid for it, didn't say anything, and so the guys are all like, "Oh, it's amazing."
Actually, let me fill in, because you weren't there.
No.
She came back, she came over to him, she goes, "Oh, your bill's been taken care of." And I'm like, I thought first, I thought, well, Jake already went and did it, and he's sitting beside me. I said, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Somebody took care of it." She left it at that. And before we left, the assistant manager came over, and she just kind of whispered to me, she says, "I think you need to know that little girl paid for your meal for all of you guys. Oh, we were just floored, like, couldn't believe it. So when I told the guys, they were really touched. So I just passed the hat around, and the gratitude came in the form of doneros, and there was a lot of them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and then I got here, and we had a meal here for a dinner again.
For the next group.
Yeah, and I had a couple of beers that night, and I walked up to Sarah to pay for my beers, and she said, "Oh no, they're paid for." I'm like, "Oh, good," you know, I'd heard what had already happened. I'm like, "Oh, okay," and we got Chinwagon, and it also turned out that she came in on her day off just to serve us, and I was like, "Man, this is a really good human being here." So yeah, I went back to the table, like, do you guys realise that this girl came in on her day off to just to wait on us? And everyone was just amazed. And then Jake come across and he said, yeah, and she's also paid for our meals. So yet again, the only way that we felt we could show gratitude was by passing the hat around again for her. And then, was it the day after? Or a couple of days after?
We played hockey with them Tuesday night, so Wednesday she came by.
Wednesday, yeah.
And I told her that we were there, so.
Yeah, and then Wednesday she come in and spent all afternoon with us, and you could just see in her face how enthralled she was by the woodworking and everything going on, and yeah, it was just, yeah, she's a really special person. She was an absolutely lovely girl to talk to. Yeah, couldn't fault her. Could not fault that.
No,
that lady.
she, and we, about my biggest regret in moving this program back to home is the kind of support that we've found in the community. It's, you know, Sarah's a great example, and there have been others just like that. We got a guy coming over today that we met in the shoe store last weekend, and he wants to help. And the staff here at Heartland Forest, they're doing a barbecue tonight for everybody. So when people are given the opportunity to know what you guys did for us, like me, they just feel like, you know, what can I do? How can I repay them somehow? I'm fortunate to have a skill that just so happens to be very therapeutic for guys suffering from the ill effects of combat. And that's why I tell people, I said, I will do this till the day I die, because how could you walk away? How could you leave somebody suffering that you could have helped alleviate it? And you're doing the same thing in Australia, and I told you, you get it going, and I will come down there and do whatever I can to help you.
Yeah.
So it's
just the fact that you've allowed me the privilege to come here and to see how it's done properly has given me, the way I do it is, it's in my garage. The roof leaks in my garage. I've got space for one person comfortably, two people normally. They both work off the one bench. I've got old tools that I've restored myself. It's it's night and day, the difference between what we provide. But you know, I've learnt huge amounts of knowledge whilst I've been here, and I hope to be able to take it back to Australia and make what I'm able to provide to veterans much better and much more like what you provide. So yeah, it'll be.
say hello to Luther.
G'day Luther, thanks heaps, and Tony.
Yeah, Tony Martin. Yeah, gotta mention that.
Yeah, cheers heaps to Tony.
Wouldn't have happened.
No.
Wouldn't have happened.
He just called me up one day, and he's like, hey, gives me the whole spiel, and I'm like, Rob Cosman? Yes, absolutely. It was like instantaneously. I got off the phone to Tony and I was on and putting my application forms in to come and do it. It's, yeah, this is once in a lifetime. And without Tony putting me in the direction, I wouldn't have been able to do it. And hopefully, I hope I can repay the favour to Australian veterans. Um, yeah. So I'm not. So you said combat wounded as well. I'm not actually combat wounded. I just have post traumatic stress. And woodworking for me just quietens my brain so much. And yeah, and so you can see these guys. They're just so quiet.
Yeah.
And they're just relaxed, calmed, and Brent, the difference in him in this week, huge.
Yeah.
It's wonderful to see what you're providing, and yeah, I hope that I can do the same one day.
What do you think of Jake?
He's okay. I'd prefer not. You know, if he could not be here, it'd make it a lot better. He's like he's like that annoying little brother that comes around. So, you know, I'll be here setting up my tools and everything's just Mickey Mouse. Everything's sorted. And I'll go and I'll have a chin wave with blokes and I'll try and spread my small amount of knowledge with other people that are really struggling, and I'll come back and I pick me number 6 up. My chip breaker wasn't there. What's going on? And my chip breaker was just gone. Oh, awesome. So I found it wasn't far away. And then I go to pick up my smoother, and the chip breaker is sitting all really well on that, and I'm like, oh, they've done nothing to this. But the retention screw holding the chip breaker down, what's that one called?
Cap screw?
The cap screw is loose as all hell. So I go to plane through the wood and my blade just goes boop. So yeah, he's like that annoying brother that you just want to punch. But you love him at the same time.
You probably had some help from Dave, I dare say.
Oh, yeah, that wouldn't be a far stretch of the imagination to get that one.
In case you haven't noticed, we had a great time. I'm really sad, actually, about having to take him to the airport tomorrow. Not because it's a long drive, but to have to say goodbye and not knowing when we get to hang out again.
Yeah.
Every time we do this, we walk away thinking, man, that was the best class. And it just keeps getting better. So we're on number 9. I can't imagine when we're on number 29.
Yeah.
Ash, it was a long flight.
Yeah.
Well worth
Thank
it.
you.
So glad you
So
came. Thank you for your service, and we will meet again. We'll do
Yeah.
this on your side of it.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. I really hope to get that in motion. That would be stunning.
We'll do it. We will do it. Thank you.
Cheers.